Uh-oh.
and what is going on with China.
Huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And joining us is Gordon Chang. You can follow him, folks, on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. So Gordon, Gordon, the letter G capitalized, then Chang, Chang. He's columnist at the Daily Beast, author of Losing South Korea and the Coming Collapse of China. And he joins us now on our Turnkey.pro answer line. Good morning, Mr. Chang. How are you?
I'm fine, and hello, Amy and John.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
Hi. So you recently tweeted out that China's attempting to breed a new species of Chinese people. Can you please explain?
Yes, China is involved in all sorts of weird DNA experiments. So, for instance, they've been putting human genes into monkeys to make them as intelligent as Americans. This is really quite something. But what's really scary, though, is that they're trying to enhance the intelligence of Chinese and really breed a race of super Chinese. And this also includes super soldiers. When he was director of national intelligence, John Radcliffe wrote about this in the Wall Street Journal last December. And there have been a number of experiments that are ongoing throughout China to improve the human species.
And what kind of evidence do you have that this is going on?
Well, first of all, they've been reporting about it themselves. But the most important thing is that China conducted actually the first gene editing of humans. There's a professor, He Jiankui, who actually used CRISPR to gene edit embryos. And he was saying that he was trying to make them resistant to HIV, but there are also strong suggestions that he was trying to increase their intelligence. Now, this produced twin girls. He's also responsible, everyone says, for a third girl. He was eventually jailed for this, but not because what he was doing was considered wrong by China, because of the international uproar, because these experiments are not only dangerous, but they're also ethically
That's okay.
ethically
Words
wrong.
are hard on Mondays.
So really what's going on is that experiment plus about 5 others that have been reported on where Chinese scientists and researchers have been editing human embryos.
Yeah, and when you look at what happened with the I guess you want to call it whatever you want to call it today, the coronavirus, the Wuhan, all that. Do you believe that was a bioweapon? I mean, especially what you're saying that China's up there trying to create smart chimps, and I mean, I wouldn't put anything past this China, the CCP. I said it on my show, and I got a lot of pushback against it, that I believe that China sent, because they were so frustrated with the presidency of Donald Trump, because he was the first president that actually slapped him and pushed back against him. What are your thoughts about this whole coronavirus actually being something that they created as a bioweapon?
That escaped from the
An
lab.
escape, yeah.
Well, we know that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was experimenting with the coronaviruses, these gain-of-function experiments, which are basically to make coronaviruses more deadly, more transmissible. So that is a strike that says, yes, this wasn't a lab escape. Also, we know that China sent its top biological weapons expert, General Chen Wei, to head the P4, the biosafety unit at the Institute in January of last year. And I believe that she was sent there to remove evidence of a lab escape, plus also perhaps to remove evidence of a biological weapons program. But when they cleaned up the lab like that, that was a real admission, in effect, of guilt. And they have done their best to prevent the international community from learning about the coronavirus. So we've got to suspect that. But the most important thing, John, is not how this started, but Xi Jinping deliberately took steps in December 2019, January of last year, to spread the disease beyond China's borders. So if it wasn't a biological weapon to start out with, he turned it into one.
Wow.
And we've got to make him pay, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because the WHO, they went there and said, oh, no, it came from the wet market, from somebody eating a bat. And, you know, that I don't buy it for 1 second, because why did they wait almost a year to go, to go investigate, you know, the source of the outbreak?
Yes, and we have all sorts of evidence that China did its best to prevent everybody from learning about this. So when you put all that together, China has a lot to answer for. And, your initial point, we must make China pay, is absolutely right. And the reason is that this is not the last pathogen that will come from China's soil, which means that we've got to deter Xi Jinping from thinking he can deliberately spread the next pathogen. And we got to remember that China's working on pathogens that will basically leave the Chinese alone and sicken only foreigners. The Chinese military has openly talked about this type of research, which means that the next pathogen from China could actually be a civilization killer.
Oh my! Let's bomb them now. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, although I'm turning into one sometimes. All right. So the 46 minutes after Biden is sworn in, the WHO changed the way that they're counting positive COVID cases. Now they're just doing PCR molecular instead of the probable cases. And think about it. 2 weeks before the election, the CDC came out and said, we're going to change the way that we're going to count cases. So all the cases in all the states went skyrocketed up. And then after Biden was sworn in, not elected, the cases started dropping at a time when we should have the most, because we're indoors a lot. It's the flu season, technically. And the WHO lost $237 million because Trump pulled out of the WHO. So they had something to gain by inflating the numbers, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. And they've also had a lot to gain by attacking the United States, which a number of these WHO researchers on this mission to China, which just completed, they had an incentive to do this. So, for instance, you had Peter Daszak, who is a leading member of the mission. He's actually admitted in January that he started a campaign in January 2020 to protect his colleagues at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Basically, he was saying there was no lab leak in January 2020. Well, he said that without evidence. So, we're dealing with a lot of members of this just completed mission who were tainted, who have ties to the lab, who have admitted that they were protecting the lab without evidence. I mean, this is just horrible that we're even listening to this WHO mission.
Yeah. And Gordon, what are your thoughts about the aggressions of China since post-Trump? They're entering the airspace of Taiwan. That would have never happened under Trump. North Korea beating the war drum once again. What do you think is going to what will be the final outcome with a Joe Biden presidency with China? Because he's already given them basically everything from America that Trump took away.
Yes. Well, Biden's rhetoric on China has been okay. But when you look at what he's actually done, it's been a big giveaway. His executive orders, for instance, removed a Trump-era ban on China supplying equipment to the American grid. I mean, Biden said he wanted to review that ban, but while he was reviewing it, he should have kept it in place because now China can sell equipment to sabotage the American grid. And this is not just a theoretical concern. That decision on the part of Biden was indefensible. And, that's not the only thing that he's done which is questionable. But, we go through the list of the things he's already accomplished. He's given China a lot of stuff and gotten nothing in return. I just don't understand what's going on here.
Well, all right, Gordon Chang, thank you so much for joining us again. You can follow him on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. Thank you so much. And your article, China doesn't have to lift a finger to push Biden around. We will tweet that out. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you, John.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It happens every year, the season called winter. Delivering and receiving supplies and getting people where they need to go can be impossible. Keeping your business's doors and gates working properly to keep out the extreme weather is a major concern. Your business can't afford a loss of income or productivity. Old Man Winter has arrived. To keep business going, call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. for your commercial door maintenance and security tune-up now. You can't always plan when your doors break down, and it always seems to come at the least convenient time. Industrial Door Company will ensure your doors, grills, and gates are working to specification and give you advice on how to increase the life of your doors. Go online to see a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. MyPillow.com. Their team will be there to help your company avoid any financial losses due to the extreme cold weather. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business. Service and installation positions available. Refer resumes to IDC at industrialdoor.com.
All right, just last week, Twitter decided to ban Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow. This comes after several big box retailers decided to take MyPillow products off their shelves. Why? Because Mike's a conservative who supports Donald Trump. Now, big tech wants to silence voices like Mike's, and this is just another reason why you need to check out the great line of products at MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com. They have 110 different items to choose from. I love MyPillow, but also the Giza Dream bed sheets. They look and feel